Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan arriving to court, getting ready for the trial to really kick off in earnest after they picked all the jurors yesterday and started with opening statements. Welcome in. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Stay up to date with what's going on here in Illinois. So obviously, Speaker Madigan, longest serving state house speaker in history. He was in the legislature for 50 years. He then became speaker back in 1984 or 83. He was speaker for all the 2 years until 2021. It was revealed in 2020 that he was public official A in a federal what do they call it, a deferred prosecution agreement with ComEd, where they alleged that there was a 9-year bribery scheme that was meant to benefit the House Speaker and his allies with do-nothing jobs from ComEd. ComEd admitted to that in the deferred prosecution agreement, paid a fine, and we even had guilty verdicts for the ComEd 4, which was a collection of lobbyists and ComEd officials with close associations with Madigan. Now it's up for Madigan. He was charged with 23 counts with co-defendant Mike McLean in 2022. He then was brought to trial, and that started a couple of weeks ago with jury selection. But after the jury was selected, let's get into this. Here's what Madigan's team says. The powerful politician is incorruptible as his corruption trial starts. So let's read through some of this. Our reporter, Brett Rowland, investigative reporter up in the opening arguments yesterday, all day. Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan was not an all-powerful state politician who corruptly controlled Springfield, but incorruptible. According to his defense team, Madigan's defense team, Thomas Breen, told jurors in his opening statements that Madigan viewed his job as helping people. He wasn't after power or money, as federal prosecutors have contended. Breen said Madigan, 82 years old, never used his position as Speaker of the House for personal gain. Prosecutors opened with a different description of Madigan. They described Madigan as the state's most powerful politician who was only interested in accumulating power, rewarding those loyal to him, and with no work contracts and other jobs that required little or no work. This is a case about corruption at the highest level of state government, the assistant U.S. attorney, Sarah Stryker, said during the prosecutor's opening statement. She said the multi-year racketeering and bribery scheme that prosecutors allege was more sophisticated than cash-in envelopes, but rather contracts disguised through third parties as lobbyists who rarely or never lobbied anyone. The prosecutor said Madigan used co-defendant Mike McLean to do his dirty work. When Madigan didn't want his fingerprints on something, he assigned McLean to handle it. They also went on to say it was McLean's job that he relished. So she also promised to present a case that jurors could see and hear, including 200 recordings for jurors over the course of the 11-week trial. And we're going to do what we can to get our hands on those recordings as they are presented to the court. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for updates in this case. So clearly a lot going on here with this trial of the former Illinois House Speaker. You can read more of that story at thecentersquare.com. So be sure to get that and stay up to date. Governor JBpritzer was asked about this yesterday at the start of the trial, and he shared his thoughts just about the issue of corruption. And does a trial like this taint the public's perception about other elected officials?
You know, I think on the one hand, of course, you know, when there's any discussion of corruption by some elected officials, it hurts people on both sides of the aisle because, as you know, there's corruption that's occurred on, you know, in both parties, and not just in Illinois, but you can say that in Illinois too. So that's certainly true. But you know, the other side of it is people getting caught and tried, and in some cases, many cases, convicted, is a good thing because it says something to people who are thinking about maybe doing some corrupt act that maybe that's a bad idea because you're going to get caught. You're being watched. And I think that's hugely important. And, you know, we've made adjustments to the ethics laws in the state of Illinois, but there are so many laws already on the books. That's why these people are getting caught and convicted. And so we want to make sure that people pay attention because we don't want corruption going forward.
So again, we've heard this line from Democrats before that, listen, I mean, the laws are already on the books. We can do some what Republicans say is nibbling around the edges of ethics reforms. But the Democrats, when asked about this over the past few years, because it hasn't just been Madigan, there have been other Democrats that have been arrested and charged and convicted of corruption. You had Louis Arroyo taking a bribe from an undercover state senator who had some tax evasion charges and assisted feds in facilitating a bribe of another state lawmaker. You had the case of Martin Sandoval being ultimately, charged with corrupt acts. And I mean, the list goes on from there, even back to the Blagojevich saga. So regardless, Republicans have been very critical of Democrats who have the supermajority in Illinois of not acting on true ethics reforms. Illinois House Minority Leader Toni McCombie, the Republican from Savannah, she reacted to opening statements here yesterday when she was holding a separate news conference, and I asked her to give her thoughts about where we're at in the Madigan saga.
The Madigan trial is just a reminder of how things are in Illinois. And when you have people even on our social media or out and about, they're not even shocked by it because they're like, this is Illinois. Who's going to be the next person? So it is just really as a reminder. And it should be also, when we're talking about political and campaign finance reform and ethical behavior in campaigning, there's so many things that we could do and so many bills and pieces of legislation that the House Republicans have. We don't care. The Democrats can take those ideas and run with them. We have no problem with offering those solutions, but they don't even meet to discuss them. They don't even have conversation in one of their fake working groups. So this is a real issue, whether it's about ethics, whether it's about property taxes, the cost of inflation, our most recent issue with transit. They have a go it alone policy, and you have to have 60 Democrats before you can even bring a bill forward. I mean, the people of Illinois need to know what is happening that they're paying for. They need to know what is happening under our domes, and it comes down to power and ethics. And I got to be quite honest, I'm sick of the Illinois voters having their heads slammed on top of a counter over and over and over again in this state. And enough is enough.
It's, again, House Minority Leader Toni McCombie talking about the overall issue of the Madigan trial, corruption in Illinois government, and where we go from here. Another day of action in the federal courtroom. Be sure to get updated at thecentersquare.com. Pretty historic trial. Illinois' longest-serving state house speaker facing corruption charges for self-dealing. All right, Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning. And get the podcast where you get podcasts. Get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. And be sure to wake up every morning with us with America's Talking Network.